Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Judy, how are you?
Okay.
I think I have the same background that you do.
Yeah, we do. We're both in Florida.
Right.
Yeah. So we can tell them we're from the beach.
There you go. I actually went down there yesterday.
You did.
Yes, we did. Just we sat on the boardwalk down in Ocean Grove for a little while.
Oh, nice.
So there were a lot of people there. I'm surprised. No, so anyway, this is good. Once we were able to do this so that we can keep things rolling.
Yeah, Carol's gonna come on too.
Good, good. Glad to hear
She's
that.
just trying to get some more experience.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping she would because we're going to be doing this on Thursday for the land use.
Well, we did another sample with her, Janine and I, this morning,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was really comfortable. So then she asked if she could come in tonight, and I told her you were. So
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. And I had told her that the other day too. I don't really have a lot to say. I just wanted to share a couple of things with the guys, with the committee. So, but and I was watching the meetings the other day. I guess there was 2 of them already that you've done virtually, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, and then we're posting them on the website. So
Right. Yeah. So as I went on there the other night and I was looking at it. So I just heard today that the governor said that there's going to be no more school for the rest of the year. Right?
yeah,
So
my daughter's a teacher, so she's kind of not sure whether she likes it or not.
yeah. I was talking to Vince Garcia about it, and he's got his son is with 8th grade in the Bedminster school, and now he's not going to be able to go back because he's going to high school in the fall. So
Right. So
yeah.
that's a hard transition.
Exactly. So, but no, I guess it is what it is. I'm kind of hoping that things will ease up a little bit. I really would love to open my pool, on time this year. But if we have to wait a couple of weeks, I guess so be it. But we're going to be ready to go. So we got so as soon as they let us to open it, we'll open. Yeah.
Good.
But so anyway, and I think they're doing the same thing on Hills Drive, as far as I know. So
Yeah, I don't know what the Board of Health is doing yet.
yeah. So well, that's the thing. Yeah, and I guess they're probably going to wait for the state to figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah, before they start giving out the permits.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we hired a new company this year to do the pool. So we got the same company that Trump is using, the Leffler. So we just hired them, and so far so good. I mean, they totally redid the walls and changed out the equipment and everything like that, which it desperately needed. So pool's 30 years old, so it's starting to need some things,
Our pool here in Knollcrest, we've done some major work to it too. So
and you guys, I guess you're still using Kent Doyle over there for that one.
I
right?
think so.
Yeah. I guess you're Tim Walter's still your president there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Nice having him on the land use board.
He's a busy guy.
Oh yeah, no, I can certainly appreciate that. So here comes Colin.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Hello, Colin. How's it going?
I'm good. Hello, Judy.
I figured
So is this the land use board meeting? I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. Well, when Carol comes on, we'll know.
That's right. That is perfect.
Yeah. So,
every time I go on video, all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, my hair's getting longer and longer.
Well, look at me. I look like Krusty the Clown
I
over
can't
here.
see. My bangs are like,
We're
Garden's
all
going to be real busy soon.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm in the same place in Florida that Judy's in.
yeah, you guys
We're
are
on the beach
perfect.
together.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, we hopped a quick flight this
Nice.
afternoon.
Nice.
You hear now they're going to require people to wear face masks on the airplanes.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I mean, I bought tickets to go down to Tallahassee in July, so I guess I'll be finding out then.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had tickets in May, but they were canceled.
Yeah, I figured I was going to go in May, but I pushed it back a couple of months, just like I did last year. But last year was because of my leg. So
Jeff, do you know how to raise your hand if you want to ask a question?
on the bottom here, there is I'm trying to remember where it is. Let's see, participants, chat. I'm just trying to see where the hand is. I'm using the computer version. Is it under reactions?
No.
Okay, that's good. I thought I saw it on the phone version, but I'm using the.
It is here somewhere.
Yeah, that I'm looking for it too. There's a share screen, chat, participants, reactions. Oh, wait a minute. recording. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Mute. That's for the video in the background. Let me just.
Oh, under participants, under more.
Oh, okay. So
I
if you
think
click.
under, no, I take that back. No, I lied.
Invite.
you're
Oh,
right
here
back.
it is. You know what? If you do go to the participants area, there is a raise hand on the right hand side.
Oh, all right. Maybe you do as host. I don't have that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess because you're running it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what version of Zoom are you guys using? Is it the business or the pro version?
Not the pro.
Okay. So I think it's a business because you can have like 9 hosts or something like that.
Yeah,
Hello, Larry.
good evening, sir.
Got to unmute yourself, Larry.
Let me see.
I know he hasn't unmuted himself yet.
No,
I
no.
unmuted you.
There he is. Okay.
No. I know we have. I know I'm not unmuted.
Yeah.
I thought we
Now,
were
did
doing.
you came in as under info at?
I just clicked on the link.
Okay. Because it recognizes you as Bedminster Township. I don't know why.
I will change the name, but it does that every time.
It was doing that on the meetings that I watched last week. I guess because you're using the computer at the town hall. Maybe I don't know. Is that your own?
No, it's my laptop. But
No, we found that it remembers how you came in the last time.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So the first time I ever came in was through a Bedminster meeting that I was hosting, and now every time I log in, even for my personal Zoom meetings, it comes up as Bedminster Township.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's appropriate, you know. And if the mayor should come in as Bedminster Township. You're the man of the town, right?
So, Judy, are we keeping Jeff on video, or what are we doing with him?
He is participating. I'm going to mute him, and he's just a member of the public. He asked if he could practice Zoom with us. So
and I got a couple of comments I'm going to make too when you do your open, you know. So nothing long or major.
Okay. We're doing one. We're just going to do one public comment session. So
Right.
just so take advantage of it. We're not doing a second.
That's fine. Yeah, and whenever that is, just Judy, just let me know, and I'll just chime in then.
All right.
And I think
right
Carol.
after permits and raffles. So
Yeah.
And Judy, we'll do we'll do a moment of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance, again for Sergeant Patterson and for the 4 Bedminster victims.
correct.
All right, and then what we
Oh my God.
and then we'll bring the COVID discussion into the monthly report discussion by subcommittee chairs. So to the extent that each Township Committee person has some issue to speak on COVID, we'll take that from new business and bring it to item number 7. So for example, Gina can talk about the blood drive, Colin can talk about the food pantry.
Okay. Got it.
Here she is. Hello, Renee.
Hello.
Oh, there we are.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I figured I'd invade tonight. So.
Nice. Okay.
How's Lisa doing?
She's doing
Beth,
okay.
how's Lisa?
She's just doing fantastic.
Good.
She's doing great. Yeah, we've managed to avoid this whole situation. So, camping out at home for the most part. So.
And
At
Renee,
least
we
we
see
don't-
Joe in the background. There he is, hiding right behind you.
He was in the video last week too, I know.
Hello, Joe.
They say
Well, I like that both Judy and Jeff are obviously.
Yeah, we're at the
vacationing
beach together. Went away.
That's this same palm tree.
I guess it's the one of the ones that comes with the Zoom software, I guess. And
Yeah.
like the San Francisco bridge that.
Yeah, the
Judith
second
used last
San
time.
Francisco Bridge, you can be in, oh, we should do the outer space because it's May the 4th.
Huh, May the 4th be with you.
Oh.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. we
Gina,
could
you're on
do,
mute.
Could do this.
There you go.
Ooh.
There you go. Now you're at the ISS.
Nice.
right?
Hey, Judy, I think you need to unmute Gina.
Got it. She's in.
She has to unmute herself.
I'm gonna try to fix my signal.
There she is.
Hey, Colin, I know where you can get a illicit haircut.
Is her name Mimi Jacobs?
Well, maybe my barber also called me up over the weekend and said, if you need anything, I may be swinging by Far Hills. I'm all right. I'm all right. I said, I let
He's
him-
got a Flowbee in the back trunk or something?
And not afraid to use it, huh? Yeah, it's getting bad.
At least you can grow it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mine's getting a little thin up there.
You're right, Jeff. It's getting long, man.
I know, on the sides, like Krusty
Yeah.
the Clown, yeah. You Simpsons fans out there.
Right.
Where did Gina go?
I'm here. I'm just trying to find a room that has Wi-Fi. We just switched to Verizon from whatever
Fios?
that's called. The other one. So I don't know. Too choppy. Go back in our extra room, see if this works.
So, Colin, I have a tech question for you.
Yeah.
So I was on a Microsoft Teams call,
Mm-hmm.
and the quality of the picture was very different than on Zoom or on Skype.
Right.
Better or worse?
Just different. It was brighter. I don't know that it was better, but it was definitely different. Just wondering, like, aren't they? They're all using the same laptop.
Right.
It was just, but it was remarkably different.
It might be a combination of things. A different codec, which is what is used to basically create the video. So it's a coder decoder, as well as the fact that Teams is meant to run on a private network, like a VPN. So you can control better the quality of the network, typically. So, and basically provide quality service. You can basically say video gets highest priority, and basically everybody who's on that call, that traffic will overtake anything else. So you can manage it a little more finely.
Good to know. Always a wealth and font of information.
Of sometimes trivial and useless information, but information nonetheless.
We have another member of the public who's joined us. I believe it's Charlie Z from the Burlington News.
All right.
He's muted at the moment.
Well, that's no fun.
Well, I'll be muting Jeff shortly.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear from me.
Oh, here comes Carol Gutschall.
Yeah. By the way, Colin, I like that picture of Marilyn Monroe you got on the wall behind you there.
That was a creation of my daughter in art class, I think in 7th or 8th grade.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, and it's all like these micro dots and writing and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Hey, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Hey, Carol.
How are you? Oh, Carol's in the living room. I recognize.
She's muted.
Unmute your sound, Carol. Click on the microphone. Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
going to
Judy,
mute her.
it is 7
There you
o'clock.
go.
Hey, Doug. Doug's muted.
Hi,
Wait a
everybody.
minute. Let
There
me
he
get
is.
Doug.
There we go.
No, Doug is good, I think.
Now the mayor is muted.
How many people?
Okay.
You're all good.
Does it take,
All
right?
right, no one touched their computer other than Judy. So,
Okay.
welcome everyone. It is
Wait a minute, Mr. Bilardo's coming in.
Bilardo. All right. We got to start over again. John, you're there?
I'm here, Mayor.
Okay, it is 7:01. Welcome to the Bedminster Township Committee regular scheduled meeting of May 4, 2020. I'll recognize that we have a full complement of Township Committee on our Zoom call tonight. Ms. Sullivan, may we please have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville and to the Burnsville News in Whippany. Also sent to all subscribers and then posted here at the Municipal Building as of January 7th, 2020.
Great, thank you very much. If you have a flag, please stand up and salute your flag, or otherwise just join with me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
And
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice
For all.
that was a much better version of the pledge than we did last time. We're getting better. Next time we can actually sing the Star Spangled Banner. Before we proceed with the meeting, I do want to call for a moment of silence in memory of the 4 Bedminster fatalities of COVID-19, for all those Bedminster residents who currently have COVID-19, and we wish them a speedy and full recovery, and a moment of silence in memory of Bedminster Police Sergeant Tariq Patterson. Okay, first order of business is the approval of minutes. There are 4 minutes to approve. April 19, 2020 special meeting, that was the budget work session number 5. The executive session we held on April 19th, which was at 11:30. So if for anyone taking note, budget work session 5 started at 8 a.m. and our executive session started at 11:30 a.m. on that Sunday. Then the next 2 approval of minutes are regular Township Committee meeting on the 20th, and then the closed session executive meeting on April 20th. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to go through those minutes. If you have any questions or comments that have not otherwise been provided to Ms. Sullivan, please raise them now. If not, can we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, permits and raffles. We have 2 permits and raffles. First is amending raffle license number 270 from April 17, 2020 to April 30, 2021 for the Bedminster Township School PTO at Trump National Golf Club. Judy, I presume that is Spring Fling.
That's Spring Fling, yes.
So for Spring Fling for 2021, they've already booked for Trump?
Yes.
Okay. And then second permit and raffle is amending social affair permit number 351798 for the New Jersey Turfgrass Foundation at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. And that's from May 4th, 2020, and that's being moved to October 5, 2020. Any questions or comments regarding those permits and raffles? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, given the Zoom complications, we've had a lot of complications, but during this COVID crisis, we are having 1 public comment session. Now is the time in the meeting that we will be opening up the Zoom conference call for public comments. Ms. Sullivan, we'll put those public comments into your hands.
I know Mr. Leonard mentioned he had comments. I'm going to unmute Jeff Leonard.
Hi, everybody.
Jeff, you can just give your name and address for the record.
Yep, 9 West Scott Road. And I'm also, as you know, the president of Hills Village North Master. And just a couple of quick things I wanted to. First, I wanted to thank you all for everything that you're doing for the township in light of all of this, COVID stuff, and it's very much appreciated. And I know I speak for the members of my community when I relay my thanks for that. I also wanted to let you know also, I don't know if this is something that's feasible, but I spoke with our property manager the other day, and she is willing to create like a secondary pickup area for the food pantry and bring stuff over, during the hours that she's there. If we can make it work for you, for the pickup time and bring stuff over to give people an extra option of bringing stuff to the clubhouse, and then she can run it over there. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Maybe that's something that we could make happen. So if that's possible, let us know and we'll work out the details with Jackie Rogers. So, and I also wanted to mention as well, appreciation to Mr. Hickey for all of his continued help with the power failures that we had on the 23rd of April and again yesterday. Although it didn't affect Hills Village North terribly, I think people just had a couple of blinks in the power yesterday in our area, but I know that there's on Hills Drive, a lot of people were out for a while. So, but I just want to thank you again, Colin, for your work with Carol Bianchi on that. So,
Thanks, Jeff.
And sometimes, since we're not going to be able, we usually have 2 members of the Township Committee come and talk to us at a meeting, which I guess this year maybe we can do it in the fall in light of everything that's been going on. So, but I just wanted to, because I mean, we like to stay connected to the town that way. So, and I know Carol Gutschall is on as well, who's also on my board. I don't know if she has anything else she wants to add, but I just wanted to let you know that's where we are. So.
Jeff, just a quick question. Is the condo association or the master having those meetings by Zoom?
Yes, Zoom or conference call. That's another thing. Thank you for reminding me. We're using primarily Zoom and voice conferences for both the master and all the sub-associations over there. No meetings are taking place at the clubhouse yet. So as soon as we find out from the state, what the situation is with that, then maybe we'll start allowing people to use the clubhouse maybe a couple of weeks down the line. We're also, just for your information as well, we're getting our amenities ready to open when the Board of Health gives us permission to open them. So so that's just something that, if you want to spread the word to, other people. And I think that the others are doing the same thing, but I can't speak for them, but that's where we are with that. But nothing is going on in the clubhouse right now, but our manager is there and she is available to our unit owners via email and telephone call. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I don't see anybody else raising their hand, but I'm going to ask Chairman Gutschall, any comment?
She muted herself.
Okay. Charlie Z from the Burnsville News.
Do you hear me or no?
Now we can.
Oh, okay. I don't have anything further to add from what Jeff has said. The Four Oaks did have a meeting. We actually had an election and we did it by Zoom. So I'm trying to get a little more proficient on this since we have a meeting coming up at Land Use on Thursday night. At least I can see everybody now and I can hear everybody. So that's a big plus. So I'm getting there. So that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you. Anybody else? I don't see any hands raised.
So the direction for public comment is to use Zoom and to bring your cursor down to the bottom, and it gives you the option of raising your hand and comment in the chat section.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else.
Okay. So before we get into, well, actually, let me discuss as we get into the monthly report by subcommittee chairs. The way the agenda is set now, the COVID-19 discussion is under old business. So to the extent that each township committee member, either as a function of your liaison to a committee or board, or if it's something that affects your subcommittee, I prefer that you bring those COVID discussions into your subcommittee report. Having said that, let's start off the subcommittee chair discussions with Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. The update I've got from DPW, I'm working with John, trying to bring our DPW force back to work, get them working on some road projects that have been approved and ordinances created and funded. Get those folks out there doing some work, furthering the ball for us, and where they can still honor social distancing requirements. So looking to do that hopefully this week. And just want to remind folks that May 7th, the bulky waste will be back open. We had a very good report, or showing, I should say, last time. We're asking the folks to consider donating to the food pantry if you're going to come down and use the bulky waste. But otherwise, it's there, it's open. Come on down. And that's all I've got. I haven't had a historic press meeting coming up, and that's all we've got for you, Mayor.
Great, thank you. Doug, do you have an update from John as to the completion of the basketball court over at Pluckman Schoolhouse Park?
The pavement went down about 10 days ago, or 2 weeks ago, and there was going to be about a 2-week lag to be able to put the color in and the painting, the striping. So I will follow up with him. I haven't heard that that's been done, but that's in real time, today, tomorrow, this week. So I'll follow up with him and get you an update next time.
Okay, great, thank you. Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, all. A couple updates. Board of Ed. I attended a meeting last Thursday where the school board reviewed and approved their budget, which will result in a 2% increase in school taxes. During that meeting, I did state our concerns regarding the tax collection rates, and I warned that third quarter taxes, which are due on August 1st, could very well be impacted. The good news is they formed a subcommittee to examine the potential impacts to their budget if we do, in fact, experience a shortfall. Also spoke about the parking lot repaving. At our suggestion, they have joined the Morris County Co-op to take advantage of the pricing that we enjoy, which has resulted in significant savings to the school and therefore to our taxpayers. I know that John Mance met with the school administrator today to discuss scheduling the project. I also reiterated at the meeting that any ancillary expenses, for example, any of the basin work that need to be done, would have to be covered on a time and materials basis, which they agreed. And also, and finally, summer camp. We're proceeding forward with the planning until the governor says otherwise. I asked the school to inform us if there's any additional cleaning expenses that may be incurred as a result of once camp is finished. So they'll keep us apprised of that. But obviously, this is a work in progress. Spent a couple minutes on the food pantry. As I know I've stated before, I'm sure people are tired of hearing it, but I'm both in awe and humbled by the incredible generosity of the Bedminster community towards the food pantry. We've had 419 food drop-offs to date since we started this just 3 weeks ago. As Doug mentioned, we combined it a couple of weeks ago with the dump day. We had over 80 plus donations that day alone. So great suggestion to do that, and let's have a repeat performance on our next dump day. Just to note, we collect 5 days a week from 9 to 12, but we are changing to a Friday only distribution schedule. We've synced our schedule with both the Burnsville and the Peapack Gladstone food pantries. To date, we have supplied almost 300 bags of food, 298 if you want to be exact, to families in need, plus other essential items, as well as gift certificates to local restaurants. It's been phenomenal in terms of the response. The folks that are picking up are so appreciative. We're glad that we can be able to help. We've been coordinating with the Far Hills administrator, who has expressed both their appreciation that Bedminster is distributing not only to Bedminster residents, but to Far Hills residents as well. And now they are going to start collecting food and dropping it off, collecting food in Far Hills, and then dropping it off to us once a week so that we can sort it and then distribute it to everybody who shows up from both Far Hills as well as Bedminster. We've also been in contact with many of our senior residents, ensuring that their needs are being served. But clearly, if anyone is in need of assistance from the senior community, please let us know. I want to give a shout out to our police department, who have been making deliveries to the seniors on behalf of Food Pantry. Thank you so much. It's critically important. And then speaking of shout outs, I always have to, first off, give a shout out to the indefatigable Robin Ray, who not only her incredible organization skills, but for her ability to pack a pantry bag like nobody else. We should all be so lucky to have Robin be our personal shopper. She does a phenomenal job. Those bags, our goal was to have 2 breakfasts, 2 lunch, 2 dinners in each bag, and there's more than that. They are overstuffed. They can really supply a family in need. And thank you, Robin, for all your work on Food Pantry in every aspect. Also want to give a couple more shout outs. Grace Fellowship Church, partnering with the owners of Butler's Pantry, Colleen and Doug Sutton, who provided gift certificates for meals at the Butler's Pantry. We're handing those out last week. Far Hills Pharmacy, Ira Katz, donated gift certificates for pizza and Pizza Brothers, along with a large donation of personal care items. Just exactly what we needed. We can't thank him enough. The owners of Epicure Foods and Maureen Murphy, who graciously donated a variety of food items and show up every Friday at our pantry day to give away those items and help us with the distributions. It's been great. And then finally, you guys. I mean, it's been an all hands on deck effort. The mayor, for your support throughout this effort, you're the great enabler of all this, and thank you, Mayor. Doug and his family for their time and for their incredible donations that they've given continuously. Renee, she's always calling me up saying, what do you need now? What can I get next? And she's always showing up with bags stuffed with food. Thank you, Renee. And then Gina, again, bags and bags of food Gina shows up with, along with, she's on the front lines during pickup days. Her linguistic skills alone are invaluable. And, she helped us inform residents about their options, both for SNAP as well as when the food pantry is open and where other food pantries in the area are. Just phenomenal job. It was done with kindness. It was done being so helpful. Thank you, Gina. And then also a final shout out to Judy and all the township employees who have given and volunteered. Don't forget, they still have to do their day jobs, right? They come out, they volunteer for hours at a time, and then they got to go back to their desks and work extra hours or at night to make up for the lost time. So thank you for your support. That's huge. And Mayor, that's my report. We will continue the food pantry as long as the need is there.
Thank you, Colin. Committeewoman Moreski.
So mine's really short. We haven't met with either JPA or the EC last time we met. EC will cancel their meeting that's normally scheduled for this Wednesday since they don't have anything going on, but JVH would like to meet. Obviously, this is all done telephonically because they haven't met in a little while and they still want to keep things going. Like the Kilt of Honor, that's going to happen again this year, so we're excited to see that happen. But that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Renee. Cool. Committeewoman Fernandez.
Thank you. Okay, so first I just want to piggyback on what Colin was saying, and I want to give a huge shout out to Colin. I've personally witnessed him wipe down and sanitize every single donation, probably hundreds, even thousands of donations of items that have come into the food pantry. And to Robin, she sorts them, she puts them in bags that make sense. Having everything organized and available really makes it easier for people to pick up the food and get what they need. So I want to thank them for that. I've been able to help on Friday mornings for pickup, which is, I've been using my Spanish skills. I would say probably 80 to 90% of the families are Spanish speaking. And when you speak to someone and your mask is muffled, making your language muffled, and you don't speak their language, it's hard for people to understand. So they've been so happy to see someone come and speak Spanish to them, be able to help them. And I was able to explain to them and hand out some information regarding SNAP benefits through the state, and also food pantry days and locations. So that was, it was really nice to be able to help. And I'm going to continue to help on Fridays for pickup, which is our new pickup day, from 9 to 12 on Fridays. I wanted to give you an update on the Bedminster Charities Fall Fest. For those of you members of the public that might not know what Fall Fest is, it benefits 7 local Bedminster charities. It's a fundraiser, and it's a big community event. And due to the COVID impact on large events, and of course, everyone's safety being a #1 priority, the Fall Fest Committee is looking into possible alternative activities, because we don't know what September and October are going to look like as far as large events. So they may or may not include a 50-50 sale, a silent auction, online, or even a virtual event. So we'll look into that. They're looking into different options and ideas. And the next meeting is Tuesday, May 26th. So probably know a little bit more then. And the last thing I wanted to talk about today is, as you know, well, maybe you don't know, blood donations and supplies are running very low across the state. So the Township of Bedminster will be hosting an American Red Cross blood drive on June 5th. We are happy to have decided to dedicate the blood drive in memory of Sergeant Patterson. And we're waiting awaiting approval from the school as possible usage to add a date of June 4th as well. So we want to be able to accommodate as many people as we can, so we can have the Red Cross can have 50 people a day. So if we do 2 days, that's up to 100 people donating their blood and saving lives. And we do anticipate a large amount of donors. So as soon as we get approval from the school, we will add the date of June 4th, and we'll vary the times. So June 4th would be from 2 to 7 p.m. to accommodate people whose afternoons are more free. And then on June 5th, it would be from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., which then would accommodate people whose mornings are free. And so we'll have more information regarding the dates very soon, hopefully. We're just waiting on the superintendent to approve the usage of the cafetorium, which is large enough to accommodate donation stations while still continuing to adhere to social distancing regulations. So for right now, confirmed date, June 5th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and a possible date of June 4th, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. to accommodate as many donor schedules as possible and save as many lives as possible. So we're very excited about that.
Great. Thank you, Gina. That's a great update. And I know that you've been working this, Chief Carl Rock has been working this, and OEM coordinator Zach Rubin. So thank you to all of you guys for picking this up. And once the word came out that blood drive were something that the governor was going to run, that we jumped on this right away. Spoke to Zach, worked with the chief, coordinating with coordinating with the Red Cross, and Gina has now taken it, and Gina is going to push it through the finish line. So we expect to hopefully draw a lot of blood on those 2 days. So Gina, thank you for all your work in that. And I do want to follow up on something that, as Colin was giving the shout out to everyone, is, you know, Colin's been out there every day for about 3 to 4 hours.
Yep.
And you know, I've witnessed it several times, and Gina and Doug, I think, both talked about sorting and cleaning each product, not just, you know, a bag. Each can is wiped down, and there's only one man whose characteristics feed right into that. That's Colin Hickey. So every can, every bag, every box, I can go back into the hallway and just see everything is wiped down with sanitizer and then organized. Well, it's brought in, it's cleaned, it's organized. it's moved back inside, then it's reorganized, and then it's packaged for pickup on pickup day. So the amount of effort that goes into making sure that it is done properly and done safely is tremendous, and it's just, you know, just a great job. And once again, I just as a reminder, we pulled this off in about 2 days, right? We went from volunteers thinking about, hey, how can we help those who are in need, those who may not be able to do the shopping, and we changed that to a blind drop off, and that became a food pantry, literally 2 days. And Colin, I know that you've been working, you know, the food pantry at your church for years, so you were well suited to pick up that task. So once again, thank you. So some COVID updates on before I get into my subcommittee reports. So as of today, on the Somerset County website, Bedminster is listed with 32 reported cases, and we stay at 4 fatalities. Everyone knows that the governor has announced that schools will be closed for the remainder of the 2020 academic year. So thoughts of school reopening in May or June, those are over. This should be a great relief so that the anxiety of whether kids are coming back or not coming back, and Gina can certainly attest to this as a teacher herself. This also gives the ability for the schools to move forward on those projects, right? So Colin mentioned the parking project, repaving, roof repairs. This now gives them an open window to take those projects on. So I think that was, you know, it was not great news. The sooner that information and that decision was made, frankly, the better. The RVCC, Red Valley Community College testing facility, had been opened for COVID-19 testing Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays. That will now be moved to Tuesdays and Thursdays. And one of the reasons is, frankly, they were seeing a drop off in the requested tests. So for the first couple of weeks, they were getting between 90 and 100. Then they really saw a drop off to about 48 or so. So they made this decision to crunch those days into 2 days. And something that I found interesting was during last week, it was reported that of the results that came back from RVCC testing, that 68% of the test results were negative and 32% positive. I do want to touch upon that briefly, because in discussions with the governor's office, there's been talk about the prioritization of the indicators. Where do we stand as a state in flattening the curve and looking at the indicators that are particularly concerning? And let me just put this out there. So there were 5 indicators that the governor's office mentioned. The first one, and these are in order of importance as told to me in the governor's office. So the first priority is number of hospitalizations for COVID-19. Those numbers are down. The second is the number of discharges compared to admissions for COVID-19 related events. So at the hospitals, how many new folks are coming through? How many folks are being released? That trend is also positive, that we are seeing more discharges for COVID than we are new admissions. So that's a very good sign. One of the other is the amount of people, the amount of patients who are in ICU or are on ventilators. And that number too is going down. So now we come to numbers 4 and 5. So this is the most important indicator as far as the state. The number of positive cases. And so while we've often heard the governor talk about the number of cases in discussions with the office, the positive cases are not They're not in the top 3 of those indicators. So it's number 4. And frankly, it's because it is a trailing indicator, because the results are coming back to us several days after the test has been performed. And also, it's a function of how much testing we actually have available. The more testing, obviously, the more positive cases you're going to get. There was a subset of number 4, the positive cases, the number of positive cases, which was the percentage of total testing that was positive versus the total negative. What's interesting is from the state perspective, this is different from the county numbers that I gave earlier from RVCC, that 2 weeks ago, they were seeing about 45% of tests were being reported as positive. And this last week, that number was 40%. So that means that the folks who are going for testing, once again, these are the presumed positive, those folks who appear to be symptomatic, is that the numbers that are actually testing positive for the virus is dropping. So while the number of positive cases will continue to rise as more testing becomes available, that is a subset of that category. And then the 5th indicator is fatalities. And once again, it's the last of the indicators because it is a trailing indicator. So there are folks who may get sick, be hospitalized, and it may be weeks before they're passing, or it may be short. Also, the fatalities are skewed to the long-term care facilities, those with pre-existing conditions, and those elderly. When you, according from the governor's office, when you start taking some of those heightened vulnerable populations out, you may actually be seeing a more stable rate of fatalities. So that's just something I just briefly want to mention as we get these information and these breakdowns from the governor's office. I do want to talk about both Colin and Doug mentioned bulky waste drop-off, and so it was all hands on deck. Every single township committee member was there. Judy was there, Robin Ray was there. We had what I would say was over 100 visits for bulky waste drop-off. And of those 100 plus visits, we had over 80 drop-offs of food. And that was just, once again, a tremendous opportunity for our residents in need. And thank you everyone to assist in getting the word out about bulky waste. And it was just a reminder, just as Doug said, it's not a requirement to get to bulky waste drop-off, but it would be something that we wish that folks consider. And that once again, for May 7th, Doug, we'll have a table ready, and I'm sure we'll have Township Committee members there working that table to take the food, and then have Colin wash it all down.
I'm working on my pile now.
Colin's got his scrubbing down. It's wax on and wax off, right? The on to my subcommittee reports, which is farmers market. We did have a farmers market Zoom meeting last week, and we are still on schedule. Once again, farmers markets are considered essential retail, and we are looking for that first Saturday in June. We've been doing a fair amount of research into how farmers markets are operating during the COVID crisis. And number one is encouraging folks to order online in advance if the vendors have that capability, so that the folks can show up, go to the vendor, pick up their bag, and head out. That's certainly number one, but also number two is the regular session of folks showing up, coming through, buying food, and then heading out. And that requires a little bit of logistics to make sure that social distancing measures can be maintained. It also requires setting a list of instructions out to the vendors and all their employees who will be handling food and be interacting with folks. So we've already have a plan to essentially space all the vendors out, to limit the amount of folks that are going through, and to do it in a one-way traffic pattern so that folks who are coming through, come through and head back out to the cars. as we don't care where they go after that, but they can't stay there. And we will be getting all that information out. I know that Robin has already put out the request for sign permits, both here in Bedminster and I believe in Far Hills, as well as also with the DOT, to put the banners up across the roadways. So that's all in play right now. Our land use board chair mentioned that we have an upcoming land use board meeting. So we had canceled the meetings for April, but May 7th will be the first Zoom meeting for the Bedminster Township Land Use Board. And there are actually 2 applications on, so we'll see how that goes. They're relatively minor. We don't expect there to be significant issues at play with those 2 applications, but so that'll, but if there are, we're certainly, just as Zoom is ready, we are ready here to entertain those public comments and public questions. And those will be 2 good test cases to see how Zoom works for those meetings. We will be talking a little bit further about some other COVID related issues, especially as we get to the issue about Governor Murphy's Executive Order 130, which gives municipalities the opportunity to extend the grace period for payment of property taxes. And we'll be getting to that very shortly, so we'll save that discussion for a little bit. Summer camp. So the issue is, issues come up multiple times on the calls with the governor's office, and they're still thinking about it. I think they're still waiting to see what the trends are as we get closer to July. I don't know what to tell you. I would not, I think rec preparing for it is the right thing. But the governor's office has not been able to give any indication whether it's more likely or less likely that summer camp will be one of the permitted activities when the summer comes around. Ms. Sullivan.
Yes, sir.
Please have the administrator's report.
So, as you know, things are a bit delayed as far as municipal budgets go. Normally, we would have introduced either mid-March or the first meeting in April. And normally we would have been adopting our budget, our first meeting in May, which would have been tonight. That is not the case. Tonight we will be introducing our budget. So obviously we are at least a month behind. However, we're not alone. Most of the other towns in Somerset County are the same schedule. As a result, the county has to wait until all of the towns submit their budgets to the county and they can prepare, finalize the county budget. Normally we would be sending out our tax bills once we've submitted everything to the state and things have been approved and the budget's adopted. We would have now moved forward and been printing our tax bills and mailing them out to residents by the end of June. This is in preparation for the August 1st third quarter taxes. Again, that is delayed, but the funding, that's our main stream of revenue for the town. So our funding, we still need our funding. So we've never done this before. Again, most of the towns in Somerset County have also never done this before, but we are looking at doing what's called estimated property tax bills. Estimated property tax bills, we would take our current budget as we're introducing it and estimate probably a 2% increase for the school and a 2% increase for the county, and calculate the tax bills based on that number and send those estimated tax bills out by the end of June, which would be the normal time that they would go out. Now those tax bills might be pretty close, but they're not accurate. So then a revised a final tax bill would go out probably in September with the actual numbers, okay? The end of August for September. This keeps our revenue coming in on a regular basis and is a necessary evil, so to speak. And there is an additional cost for postage, additional cost for printing of estimated bills and sending everything out to the public. We're estimating somewhere between around $3,500 for the additional cost for this. So we will have the tax bill, instead of going out once, be going out twice. Estimated bill and then a final bill. This gives us also the ability to include some additional information to the public that we normally would only get maybe one bite at the apple to send them in a tax bill. We will get two. So while we're prepping for that estimated tax bill, we'd like maybe a message from the mayor or an update on things in the town with if we're still doing the food bank or the farmer's market, or an update on any of the other things going on in town. Think about what you might want to put in that estimated tax bill, other than the normal. We can still send the normal information out with the final tax bill, but this would be an opportunity for a special message you might feel is important. Okay. So please think about that, but we would need to know by like middle of June so we can get things printed. Okay. The other thing, we were talking about this today, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the primary election has been moved. It is not going to be in June. It has been now moved to July 7th. With the movement of the date, there's still a potential that it could be made an all mail-in primary. That is yet to be decided. The mayor and I talk about this in our meetings that we're on every couple times a week. However, if it is going to be held, districts 4, 5, and 6 that are normally at the Pluckerman Presbyterian Church, the church has indicated to us, if everything goes well, that they will be having their summer Bible vacation Bible school in July. So they will not be able to accommodate the primary election in July. So I've gotten permission to move those 3 districts to here at Town Hall, at the municipal building, to join with District 1. So District 1, 4, 5, and 6 would be at Town Hall for the primary in July. We would also have to do a mailing to let all the voters in 4, 5, and 6 know that that's what we were doing. So we'll have to do some email blasts, we'll have to do some mailings, we'll have to do a lot of signage on the website, on the Facebook page to get the word out. And special signage the day of the primary. Again, if we're going to actually have an in-person primary. So that's just an FYI to all of you. I've been getting questions from poll workers and from voters, what's going on. So that's the latest that I have. I also just want to talk about Executive Order 130, but as the mayor said, we're going to talk about that shortly, about the extension of the grace period. So,
Okay.
That's all I have.
Look, right. So let's save that, the Executive Order 130 for consideration of that resolution. Which brings us to discussion on introduced ordinances. We have none. Introduction of ordinances, we have none. And public hearing of ordinances, we have none. We do have one item on the consent agenda. Just a reminder, consent agenda, there are resolutions of a routine matter. They will
Actually, I'm going to.
You're changing on me?
No. Actually, our auditor is on the call with us this evening. I received notice from him earlier today that we should actually delay that till after the budget has been introduced and noticed in the paper. So until we do that, so it'll probably be at our next meeting. Am I correct? I can unmute Bud.
Bud, you're off.
Check with that, Bud, that it has to be noticed at the next meeting then after it's been advertised in the paper.
Correct.
Okay. So I only found that out this afternoon.
So this is no longer, is this still a consent agenda item? So just so everyone knows, the resolution we're discussing is a resolution regarding the self-examination of the budget.
So we're to delay that till after the budget has been advertised in the newspaper. So we'll do that resolution at the next meeting.
That resolution is typically considered on the consent agenda because it essentially just saying that you've reviewed the budget you just spent 3, 4, 5 months working on, and that you're comfortable that the budget represents something that is appropriate for your municipality.
Correct.
And that the auditor doesn't find it violative of any auditing principles.
No, correct. So that will be delayed.
So
That will be
the-
referred to the May 20th meeting.
All right, so resolution 2020-045.
Before-
Off the consent agenda.
18th, sorry, 18th, May 18th.
Okay. Well, so that will bring us to resolutions that are not on the consent agenda. And the first resolution is resolution 2020-046. This resolution authorizes emergency temporary appropriations in the current fund in the total amount of $102,500. Ms. Sullivan.
So again, because we haven't introduced our budget or adopted our budget, we're still operating on a temporary budget. Therefore, we only appropriated 25% of last year's budget to use the beginning part of this year. Some of our accounts have run dry, so to speak, so we just need to move some money around. So this is appropriating some additional monies, but still not up to the full amount of what is in the budget so far this year.
Okay, and you're
Just in certain accounts.
right. So we're taking appropriations made for legal, operating expenses, planning board, operating expenses, and just liability insurance.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments concerning resolution 2020-046? Seeing none, may we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
This would be a roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next resolution is resolution 2020-047, compliance with EEOC enforcement guidelines. Ms. Sullivan.
So this is was added to the agenda this evening because again, the auditor reminded me that this is something we have to put on when we're introducing the budget. It's required by the DCA. It's the local units hiring practices. We have to be in compliance with the United States Equal Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance, which is currently part of our personnel policy. However, we have to have a resolution stating that we are in compliance and that we do follow these guidelines within our personnel policy. So this is something we do every year. It is sent down to the DCA with our budget. And there is actually a group affidavit that is to be signed by all of us, which I will have with the bill list in the Township Committee office. And you will all need to, when you come in to sign your bills and you come in to sign the bill list, you will also need to sign the affidavit. So I'll have that prepared for you tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Sullivan regarding this resolution?
Nope.
None, may we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Again, roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
So this is resolution that is next. It's something that's issue that's been on, it's been off, it's been on, it's been off. And tonight we have a resolution. Resolution 20048. This resolution authorizes the shared services agreement with the Borough of Peapack and Gladstone, the Borough of Bernardsville, and the Township of Bernards for the establishment and operation of a shared municipal court. Ms. Sullivan.
So I've been working with the attorney John Bruder. He wrote the original agreement with Peapack, Gladstone, Bernardsville, and Bedminster. So he was good enough to work with me to modify the agreement to accommodate Berners Township. He made, some minor adjustments just to accommodate that town. The only other adjustment we made was at the request of Chief Rock, who said each town, although this was an understanding between the all four police departments, he wanted it to be actually written in the agreement that all police departments will be responsible to transport any prisoners to and from the jail on their own. He didn't want to necessarily have them assume that Bedminster was responsible for that. So that was also written into the agreement. Berners Township is considering the same resolution at their meeting next Monday or Tuesday. Bernardsville as well. And I think PPAC Gladstone is also next week. So we're the first to review it, but all four towns are looking at the same agreement and resolution that you're looking at tonight. The process after that, Attorney Bruder has agreed, once all four towns have adopted their resolution, he will then package it up and send it down to the division of the courts, down with Judge Ciccone, who has the final review of the agreement for approval. So we hope to have that hopefully by mid-June.
So Doug, have you had the opportunity to see that agreement?
No. The one with bringing in burners?
Yes.
Not yet. I mean, I've been involved obviously in the discussions, but I haven't seen the pen and the paper yet.
Judy, is there any timing urgency? Because I would like to have Doug, since Doug was intimately involved in these discussions with Bernard.
Yeah, it could be the next meeting if you wanted to. We're just trying to package it up to give to Mr. Bruder, so it could be the 18th.
And do we know when the other towns would also? So
they all have meetings next week, so that it would still be timely.
Okay. I'm going to propose that we table this resolution to give Committeeman Stevenson.
Okay, I can forward everything to Mr. Stevenson.
Right, and if you can also distribute the agreement to all the other committees.
Okay.
Okay, so that one goes over there. Which brings us to, and by the way, so I do want to give, while we talk about the shared court agreement, thank you to Judy and Deb and to Doug. Thank you to Carol Bianchi, who we started discussions with a couple of years ago. And thank you to Mayor Baldessari and the folks over at Berners Township, as well as all the other members of the court. Did a lot of number crunching, did a lot of hand wringing about what the impact is, as well as to Carl Rock and Nance, because thinking not just about what this means economically to financially to Bedminster, but what it also means to the operation of the whole complex down here. So this certainly is more parking, a little bit more stress on the building and the facilities. But after consideration, Doug and Judy, we had a number of merits to move forward with this, and we certainly do feel that the merits warrant moving forward with that resolution. But just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to see that agreement before we vote on it. So to be continued. Introduction of the 2020 municipal budget, resolution 2020-049. So some very brief recent history. Back in March, we had concluded 4 budget work sessions. And we felt that we were on a pretty good track to finalize the budget, and we had come to a number that was about 1.4% ahead of additional appropriations from 2019. And we felt that that was a budget that accomplished a lot of what we were looking to do here in Bedminster for the coming year, including raises for employees and a number of other capital and operating expenses. As the COVID crisis came full on, we made the decision to essentially tap the brakes on the budget and to hunker down and see where the COVID crisis was going globally, nationally, regionally, in the state of New Jersey, and here in Bedminster, to better assess what the impacts of the crisis were economically on our residents and our businesses. And after a couple of weeks, and Judy reminded me that, you know, we got to get back to the budget. We got to get back to the budget, Larry. Larry, we got to get back to the budget. Chop, chop. We did have that all morning session. And in one meeting, we went through the budget line by line, both capital and operating all over again, but with an eye towards the expectations of the impact of the coronavirus to our operations here and to our residents. And we ended up with a 0.64 increase from last year. We still have a fair amount of projects to undertake, roads that need paved. We did put a little break on proceeding with employee raises, and we took that hard look with looking at the economics, as we have all seen that the projections for unemployment in New Jersey could be as high as between 20 and 30%. And the one thing that the Bedminster Township Committee has always done is that we've never taken for granted other people's monies. And being mindful of what the budget impact is, and look, you know, whether it's a 1.3% or 2% increase, you know, it could be $50, it could be a little bit more than that, it could be a little bit less than that. But that's someone's money. And given the uncertainty that we're heading into for the rest of the calendar year, you know, I think it was appropriate that we reconsider the budget and see what we could do to assist our residents. So I know I'm largely speaking to everyone who has participated on this, but I thought it was worth repeating in this public session before we introduce the budget. So Ms. Sullivan, if you anything else to add regarding?
Well, you're correct. The increase over the amount to be raised by taxes over last year is 0.64. We originally were looking at 1.39. On the municipal portion of the budget, not the school, not the county, not open space, not the library, but just the municipal portion of the budget. It does include our open space tax. It does include, you know, our municipal portion of the budget. We're looking at about a $5 to $6 increase with what we're projecting. So.
When we get through the budget presentation, we'll see that we are taking on road projects. We are taking on things that we need to do. That role of government continues, and it is essential. That local government is essential, and there are things that we need to take on that we simply cannot just, you know, curl up in a ball and just, you know, wait until this all passes.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we had, you know, we had to take a hard look at our anticipated revenues that they weren't going to come in as we normally expect them to, and then we cut appropriations to match what we were losing in revenues.
Right.
In order to kind of make it even, so.
Right, and we'll talk about this a little bit as we get closer to the next resolution, which is the resolution that would extend the grace period. You know, what we can do to help out our residents, as we should consider. And if it doesn't hurt the municipality, then frankly, you know, to me, those are no-brainers. And we've maintained a sound municipal budget. There are things that we would like to do additionally. Yes. Are there additional pieces of equipment that DPW might need, that the fire department or the first aid might need? Yeah. And we'll get around to doing that. But we also have to be mindful of really the revenue that's going to be coming in. Non-tax revenue, permits and other interest rates, you know, we're expect to see that down. And taxable revenue, there may be a lag in some of the payments that we receive. So the 0.64 number that we arrived upon, frankly, I would have liked to have seen both the county, which I believe went forward with a 2% increase. I would have preferred to have seen the county take that same review that we undertook, and similarly with the school board. But I understand, you know, everyone has their own budget that they need to consider, and we did what we felt was right for our residents. So, Judy, you have a note here. Please
Yes.
read the entire document.
Yes.
Do we read this now, or do we read this after the resolution?
I defer to Bud. I think you need to read that whole statement as an introduction.
All right, so municipal budget notice, Township of Bedminster, Resolution 2020-049, Section 1. Municipal budget of the Township of Bedminster, County of Somerset for the fiscal year 2020. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the current year. Be it further resolved that said budget be published in the Burnsville News in the issue of May 21st, 2020. The governing body of the Township of Bedminster does hereby approve the following as the budget for the current year. And let's see, notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution approved by the governing body of the Township of Bedminster, County of Somerset on May 4th, 2020. A hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Township Municipal Building on June 1st, 2020, 7:00 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2020 current year may be presented by taxpayers or other interested persons. And then attached to it, tables, charts, and I'm not reading these.
No. Well, so I'll give a presentation at the next meeting. It's a very short one.
Okay, so having said all that, is it now time to vote on resolution 2020?
To introduce, yes, introduce.
Introduction of the budget. Then we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Who was that? I didn't see who that was.
I moved, I think.
Okay,
Alan moved. I second.
thank you. This would be a roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Mareski,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next resolution. Resolution 2020-050. This resolution extends the grace period for the payment of second quarter property tax installment. Last week, Governor Murphy approved Executive Order 130, or actually issued Executive Order 130, which allows any governing body, and if you're on a calendar year budget cycle, which we are, is that you can extend the grace period for second quarter payments. Right now, the law allows for a 10-day grace period. So the normal grace period would go to May 10 for the payment of property taxes. The executive order gives municipalities the option of extending that grace period to June 1. Now, my understanding, and after having discussions with Judy, with our CFO, and with our tax collector, is the due date is still May 1. Payments come between May 1 and June 1. There are no penalties that are assessed against the taxpayer for payments that come in during that grace period. If a payment comes in after the grace period on June 2nd, June 3rd, June 4th, well, in that case, it's not a day late or 2 days late or 3 days late. That the penalty is assessed starting from May 1st.
Yes.
So I just want to be clear as, and certainly, you know, Charlie, I had a discussion with Charlie about this earlier, and I think this is something that needs to be put out, that it's not an extension of the deadline to pay the taxes. It's just a forgiveness period for those 30 days. Once those 30 days are over, you go back to May 1.
You're essentially looking to extend the grace period of 10 days to 30 days.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct.
It doesn't change the due date.
So there's been a lot of discussion, you know, as Judy alluded to, we've been on these daily calls for months at this point with the county. This is something that was, frankly, consideration of some legislation, that's Assembly Bill A3902, which would have extended both the deadlines, presumably under one version of the legislation, for payments to municipalities, and also for the payments from municipalities to the county and the schools. As every township committee member knows, because Judy has drilled it into our head from day one, we are the tax collector for the county. We're the tax collector for the school. When they issue their budgets, when the county and the school issue their budgets, we are obligated to make those payments to the county and the school. And if we are late, we are subject to. The Township of Bedminster is subject to penalties if we are late in paying those other entities. In the next coming months, between now and the extended grace period, we only have one entity that we pay, and that's the county. And that payment date is May 15th. The executive order issued by the governor does not extend our payment obligation to the county. You might call that dirty pool for the municipalities to give us the authority to extend the date by which we receive payments, but not to give us any relief on the back end for our own payment obligations. And I have certainly raised this in my discussions with the governor's office, and actually I've raised this last week with the county and saying, you know, what are you guys going to do? Are you proposing anything equivalent? I did ask for the governor's office to explain why they felt comfortable issuing an executive order to change one statutory obligation, but not the other. And the answer I got was, well, there's been precedent in the past for extending the payment due dates, and that was during Hurricane Sandy and primarily for the coastal counties. And because there had been, also there was another precedent, I believe, it was mentioned during Governor Corzine's term during the recession that there was another extension, but they could not identify a precedent to extend the due dates for the payments to the county or the school. So because of that, the governor's legal counsel, this is what I've been told, felt comfortable in extending the one grace period, but not the other grace period. Having said that, Judy and I had a number of discussions, and frankly, it was where do we stand financially in our payment obligation to meet the May 15th
I
deadline.
just got an update from the tax collector, actually, on that exact question.
And by the way, she was here when I came in earlier.
Yeah.
And she said that we're in good shape.
As of this afternoon's tabulation, we were at 85% of our collection for the May 1st date.
Okay.
So we're in very good shape.
So we're in good shape. There's still another, at this point, 27 days to go during the grace period before there's penalties or any other action that would be taken. But given that we are in good shape to make the May 15th payment to the county, I would recommend, and I do recommend, that we certainly consider extending the grace period, because there may be folks who need that extra 20 days or so to get the cash they need to make that property tax payment by June 1. So if there are questions or comments, either to Judy or to me or to our auditor, let's talk it through.
Judy, a question and then a comment. The 85%, how does that compare to years past?
We are way ahead of last year, actually.
Great.
Yeah.
So then back to the mayor. So even though no one has extended a 30-day grace period to us, including the county, and underline that, because of good, prudent financial management on our part, we as a municipality can grant that same grace period to our taxpayers, which I think is the right thing to do. Because to your point, and we're seeing it on those food pantry lines every day, we've got residents who are really suffering, seniors who are suffering. So since we are in a good financial situation, yeah, I would think that's the right thing. We should do it.
My comment on it would be the messaging. Let's be very clear about this, that I think the point you made earlier, Mayor, about the due date is still May 1. But we're giving you the 30 days to come current. I don't want people to think that, oh, I don't have to pay till June 1 and then I get 10 days after June 1 and I can pay by June 10 and I'm okay. We need to be very clear about the messaging on this. And I think it's the right move for all the reasons that Mayor and Colin, you've raised. We're not going to be out financially as a result of this. We're not digging any hole for the municipality and all the taxpayers just for a couple or a handful of folks that need the extra time. So because we've got no downside, I see it as all upside, and I think it's the right thing to do as well. But let's just be very, very clear about our messaging on this one.
Yes.
I don't want to be accused of giving false assurances or anything like that.
Assuming we adopt tonight, can we really get that messaging out quickly? Facebook, website, whatever, and make it very crisp. Doug, you raise an excellent point.
Yes.
And by the way, I do want to reiterate that the executive order only applies to the May 1 date, giving us the authority to go as far as June 1. It doesn't allow us to go any further than June 1, nor does it apply to the next quarter payment. And frankly, when we start seeing issues, it's not going to be now.
Right.
It's going to be a couple months from now.
Agreed.
Yep.
Committeewoman Moreski, comments?
I agree with what Colin and Doug said, that I think we should do whatever we can for our residents, and that it should be very clear that they are due by June 1st. Since we might not be able to do anything for them the next time a tax bill is due, at least we can try to do something now.
Committeewoman Fernandez.
Yes, I agree. I think we absolutely should grant a grace period of 30 days to our taxpayers and just make sure that they're aware that after the 30 days, they would be accumulating penalties starting as of May 1st. So we don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure that's very clear.
Okay. Bud, any thoughts or any comments from you, from the auditor?
I think you guys are fortunate to be in the position, the financial position that you are, that you're able to, excuse me, that you're able to do this through a lot of planning and hard work, and I think it should be commended.
Thank you. Okay, may we have a motion to approve Resolution 2020-050?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-051, this resolution requests approval of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services to establish a dedicated trust by rider for self-insurance pursuant to NJSA 40A:10-1 et sec. Mr. Bellardo, what does that mean?
Actually, I think Mr. Jones is ready to respond.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just like throwing legal citations at John.
This is the establishment of a trust fund for self-insurance to cover the exposure of claims for the township's membership in the joint insurance fund.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I think that's cheating.
So if you remember back a few months ago, we did have some, the auditor did explain to us about our surplus, and we did decide to take some of that surplus and set it aside in this litigation trust. So this is the actual formal creation of that account, special trust account for that purpose.
Great.
So this is where we would be charging the New Jersey American Water litigation, any other, litigations that come at us throughout the year.
Great. Any further questions or comments for Judy or for Jones? Or I'm sorry, for Bud Jones? Okay, seeing none, may we have motion to approve Resolution 2020-051?
So moved.
A second.
And one last roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye. And there is one more roll call vote, which
Oh,
is
there is. Yes, there is.
the bill list.
Phyllis?
We have motion to approve the bill list pending review of individual invoices.
So moved.
Second.
And again, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
And just remember, you still got to come in and sign everything. Tomorrow would be great.
I'll be in, Judy.
Will do.
Thank you. We're having a virtual court tomorrow too. You could come see that.
You have any virtual coffee?
Yeah, we can find some.
Discussion items. Any new discussion items that the Township Committee members want to put up for public input?
Just wanted, I'm sure everybody saw it, but I just wanted to note that the governor's made the official announcement about the school will not be returning this year. So the parking lot that we had discussed earlier, I know that was one of the considerations, is that, do we do it? And then what do we do when the kids have to come back? So at least that's out of the way, so to speak. But I know that that's going to sort of be a double-edged sword. For some certain folks, that's not welcome news. For other folks, perhaps it is welcome news, but that's out there. And of course, people are now starting to ask about Camp Bedminster, and I don't think we've got answers at this point, but childcare will become a critical issue here. And whereas it wasn't before, but now it is. So let's just all sort of be mindful of that.
Agreed. And once again, as you reach out to your committees, your subcommittees, your boards, your commissions, we need to discuss, each group needs to discuss reopening of the Bedminster business and what it means for our residents, what it means for the businesses. This is while we're in the discussion items, I will note that we received an email from Delicious Heights. I think that went to everyone on the Township Committee saying, as we look to reopening, maybe that some outdoor dining might take some of the burden off of our inside space and maybe more conducive to social distancing. And they certainly have a plan that they want to consider. And then an email that came to me this afternoon from Oasis Day Spa, essentially saying, they're looking forward to reopening. They don't know when that's going to be, but they certainly are looking for some assistance from the township in how to implement that. And I think that's something that, a lot of our businesses, both, big and small, need to consider. And I think it's certainly certain, once again, whether it's the land use board, whether it's environmental, whether it's historic pres, the reopening issues are going to touch each of those subject matters. And we need to be prepared, and we need to, understand that we've got to have some leniency in how we operate and how we enforce some of the constraints so that we can get these businesses back in operating as quickly as we can, so we can revert to normalcy whenever that is.
Yeah, Mayor, on that point, you raised a great point, and it just shot in my mind now. I mean, we have to be prepared for the contingency that maybe life won't go back to the way we knew it. Maybe life, for the foreseeable future, meaning for years to come, will be, 6 tables in a room instead of where we had 9 tables in a room. And that, do we need to think about going to land use and asking them to start putting together some sort of pilot subcommittee, whatever you want to call it, to start thinking about open spaces outside of restaurants and sort of loosening up those provisions so that we can be nimble to help the business community and get through all this together. If the rules of engagement are changing, all of these leases have been signed with certain expectations about capacity and how they can service and how they can service. And now if the rules change, you're into these force majeure type considerations, not to geek out and get too legal about it, but you want to make sure that the business owners that have chosen to set up shop in our town are going through this with us as a partner and not as an adversary. And we need to be very mindful of that. We want to keep, the lights on, so to speak, and we may have to start thinking about different ways that our businesses service the community. And I mean, it goes the whole sphere, right? So I'm not going to sit here and spitball all the issues, but should we start to get out in front of that a little bit and start, taking the temperatures from the business owners and perhaps tasking someone on land use to try to, start that ball rolling.
So we do have a master plan subcommittee coming up, actually just in a couple of days. And I will tell you, at the last master plan subcommittee meeting, this is one of the groups that had moved forward and had made the recommendations regarding the no feather flag ordinance. Pretty much tell you that I'm not going to support introducing a ban or restriction on signage at this time. Because if someone is going to say, open, God damn it, give them the opportunity to say open or sell or whatever they need to say. But so as far as I'm concerned, feather flag, long term, had we not had this COVID experience, yes. But given where we are, if that's going to help bring a few more people into, whether it's the restaurant, whether it's the bar, whether it's the barbershop, whether it's the salon, for any of those small businesses that need that signage, even if we look at it and go, oh man, not another feather flag. Well, you know what? That's something that you're just gonna have to put up with for a little bit. So it's something that we have discussed at the master plan level, and similarly, had that discussion with enforcement. So yes, Doug, I think it is something that we need to visit, and I think we need to take a hard look at that. And land use is certainly one of those boards, but I think the ramifications extend to all the boards and all the committees.
I think that's true.
Any more new business? Old business, COVID-19. Do we have any other COVID-19 issues that we have not touched upon?
I think so, Mayor.
All right, short-term rentals. Can't imagine we have any new information on that.
Is that something we can update? Because it's now May, and that's been there with those numbers for a while.
Judy, you want to reach out to Joe Haggerty about if
Any
it's
kind of
if
update?
that's Joe or if that's Steve Dill?
Okay.
Engine braking, I think that's something else that, given there's not a whole lot of road noise to begin with. We get that. Pluckman Park, Doug, I think it was you had mentioned that the police have been, or maybe it was Colin, I forget who.
Colin.
The police going through Pluckman Park and liaising with the residents to make sure that they're aware of everything that's going on. Welfare checks to make sure that, everyone's okay. Do you need to talk to the police? Do you need to talk to the township? And by the way, we've got a food pantry in case you need it. So that's all been going on, and we've not heard anything with respect to one of the issues over Upland Park. Committeeman Hickey, these next two are yours. They're the utilities issues.
I
So,
can
Thank
talk
you.
to them there. Thank you. First off, before I forget, Mr. Leonard, thank you for mentioning Jackie Rogers for the food pantry. That would be great. We'd love the opportunity to have a satellite. And if she can coordinate and just tell me what I need to do, you can reach out to me, she can reach out to me so we can get the food over to us. And super, we appreciate the offer. Thank you. As Jeff did mention, there have been a number of outages for JCP&L over the last 2 weeks. I was going to hit on a couple of those very quickly just to give some further explanation. We had an outage on April 23rd. It was a transmission trip that impacted about 11,000 customers throughout Somerset County. It was birds on a wire. They shorted out the circuit. All customers were restored in about 15 minutes. April 27th, last Monday, we had some high winds, if you may recall. It took down some tree limbs that impacted customers throughout Somerset Hills. We were fortunate that actually happened in the early morning hours, and everybody was restored by about 6 a.m. The worst outage we experienced was yesterday, May 3rd. We had an outage that began around 7:30 in the morning and lasted until about noon. It impacted customers on the greater Crossroads circuit, which serves majority of customers in the lower hills. It was described as a primary failure. As you may recall, when we got the presentation last year, the primary lines are the ones at the top of the telephone poles. They're the ones that carry the high voltage electricity. The cause was described as unknown, which is unsatisfactory, obviously. So I've asked our JCP&L rep, Ms. Bianchi, for some more information on the cause of that failure. She shares our concern over any extended failures, including that one. And like us, she doesn't want to take, I don't know, for an answer. So she's going to get us an answer on that one. I think we want to make sure, and Jeff referenced this before, we know that all failures can't be prevented, but we want to make sure we're exploring systemic failures, like the ones we had last year in the Wood Duck Pond area, and make sure we track down the root cause and then get those resolved. So if this is indicative of a larger issue, we'll get it addressed and take it from there. So that's the latest on JCP&L. New Jersey American Water. Second round of discovery has been completed. The third and final round will complete shortly. There's just a few questions that remain. We will get to file our expert testimony along with the other parties, and then settlement discussion should begin. Just a little more information about the request for an increase. So New Jersey American Water has now upped the ante. They were in the 85, 87 million range. Well, now they're asking for $90 million. And as we look at their annual reports, they've been touting a 27% rate of return to their shareholders, which is great if you're an investor, but realize that's being done on the back of the ratepayers. And when we look at it, it's 6% higher than the industry average. All right, so that's what our team, our legal as well as economic analysis team has uncovered as we've been doing our discovery. So those numbers indicate that our ratepayers have been overpaying and New Jersey American Water has been over-earning for years. So they should not be asking for any increase whatsoever. And that will be our position going into these discussions. So that's where we stand on that, and I'll provide additional updates as discovery closes and the discussions begin. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you for that. That's a great report. Thank you. Township Committee comments. We will start with Committeewoman Fernandez.
Okay, I wanted to actually ask a question just to clarify. On May 7th is free dump day, correct? It's free and we're just asking if you can bring a non-perishable item for the food pantry. Is that correct?
So May 7th was going back to our normal show your card at the gate.
Okay, so it's $10.
Right, with a card
Well-
they're not purchasing at the gate, they've got the card before, but we're certainly open to any donations, obviously.
Okay, so
All right, so
it's
we're
going
gonna-
back. Right,
yeah.
sorry.
Oh, no, it's your, these are your comments. I'm sorry.
No, I was just clarifying because I didn't know if it was free or not this time.
Yeah.
Or if that. Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to clarify because I wasn't sure and somebody asked me about it. So I wanted to make sure I had the correct answer. And I just wanted to, again, reiterate thank you to Colin and Robin and everyone who's been helping and all of our residents who have made donations to the food pantry. I've seen firsthand so many families that are in need and are benefiting, crying, just so appreciative of everything. And I would just encourage anyone who can donate to please continue to do that and just save the date for our blood drive, June 5th and possibly June 4th as well. So we could come out, donate some blood. We're going to have a good turnout. We're Bedminster and we know that.
Great. Thank you, Gina. And as actually, Gina raises a good point. So if we are going back to the bulky waste card, are we able to process the cards here at Town Hall?
So what we normally do, we process the cards if there's time. We mail them out to the resident. If there's not time, we put them in an envelope and have them at the gate. We can have them on a table. We can hand them out. There's still no real contact. Most people are not there, and we also have a printed list.
Well, the reason I ask is because with the visits that we had, I guess that was 2 weeks ago, there were a number of folks, honestly, who had never even known that we offered this program, that this was their first time to the DPW yard, and they had no idea about bulky waste drop off. And my concern is that we're going to end up with folks who do not have the card. And I think
Okay, well, we have an updated list of everyone that has a card in town.
but I think
Not to throw a
we've
monkey,
got to be prepared for folks who show up who don't have the card.
yeah, not to throw a monkey wrench into this, but I thought that the 7th was also a free day. But if I'm mistaken, I'm mistaken. I just adding fuel to the fire here that you may have a bunch of folks showing up that thought it was.
I leave it to you. I mean, after the last dump day, we filled up the dumpster we had there that day, and we had to order 3 additional dumpsters that we filled immediately.
How much junk in a municipality have?
So we filled 4 dumpsters.
A lot.
They're about $250 to $300 each. The $10 charge does not pay for, the cost. It's just a nominal offsetting number.
So
I leave it to you. If you want to leave it, we can tell people, keep your card. No charge this time.
tell you what, in the words of Mayor Parker, I'm going to call an audible here. Doug, you work it out with John Mance, figure it out. Whatever you guys decide. We'll deal with it.
Good.
Okay.
You got it.
let's see, we left off with,
I can update the website if that's what you want.
well, yeah, let Doug and John talk it through, and whatever they decide, update
All right,
the.
let me know.
So let's see, we did Gina, Renee, Committeewoman Moreski.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for working so hard on this budget. I think Bedminster should be proud of all the work that you guys have done to keep our taxes low this year, and considering, extending the deadline for the tax submission. And another big thank you to everybody who's worked at the food pantry. It's truly amazing how much food has been donated, and it's very surprising to me how many people we have in town who need this stuff. But apparently it's working out pretty good. So continue to volunteer, continue to bring things for your fellow Bedminster resident. And just a quick note about the River Road and the hike and bike trail. Saturday and Sunday were gorgeous. We were out there taking pictures, having a really good time. A lot of people were using it, not as many as I would have liked to see, because it really was pretty. But just make sure you're keeping your social distance. There's some areas where it can get a little guppy, but the River Road Park is huge, so come on out, and hope to see everybody out there.
Great, those are great comments, Renee, and absolutely right in driving that point home. It's not just the governor that continues to assess how social distancing is working at the state parks and the county parks, but we should be doing it every day in our parks. We kept our parks open, and the residents were extremely appreciative of that, but yet we still need to be vigilant and making sure that social distancing is complied with. So thank you again for that reminder, Renee. Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, Ms. Fernandez, sign me up for the blood drive. That should all be part of our comments. Everybody line up, get ready. No, I just want to comment, reiterate everybody else's comments about the generosity we've seen from the food pantry. We see a lot of commercials for a lot of companies are saying we're all in this together, which, sometimes I laugh at when I think about, an airline telling me we're all in this together, but, 6 months ago, they're charging me $100 to, put a bag on board. That being said, we know what our residents are up against. We see it on the food pantry line. Mayor, you mentioned about the businesses, as did Doug, so our ability to give our residents a break, we recognize the shared sacrifice we have to make, be it in a budget, be it in a department that, has to cut back on an acquisition, on the employees, we're deferring salaries. We are all in this together. We're trying to make sure that we can do whatever we can to help our residents manage through what is a very difficult period. And I'm just proud of everybody on the Township Committee and the Mayor for helping lead that effort. Thank you all.
Thank you. Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, same comments, sort of, the same ilk here. I didn't get a chance to thank Colin for all your hard work on the food pantry as I went first. But yeah, I mean, you're there every day, Colin, and you're a shining example of what's good about local government and rolling up your sleeves and getting it done. And obviously Robin was instrumental for that as well. And, Mayor, look, let me just give you a shout out, because you've been the mayor through some pretty tough things here, and, we're not out of the woods yet, but you're doing a heck of a job guiding us through this. And, it's a privilege and an honor for me to serve on this committee with all of you, because you look at our budget, whether it's the extension of the grace period for the taxes, the ability to be able to be flexible, to be a bit nimble, to help the residents and those folks who choose to plop down and live here, continue to make Bedminster shine as the jewel of Somerset County, as the place to be. And I like the fact that we sort of lead from the front. And, it's a credit to everybody on this call. And I'm really just very, very appreciative of all of your efforts. And thanks for slugging it out as a collective unit. I think we're doing a great job, and I'm proud to roll out the budget that we are. We work very hard on it. Like every budget that we work on, we're, like you say, Mayor, this is not, other people's money. It's our money. We treat, the community's money like it's our pocket, and we're being fiscally responsible and fiscally sound. And we're seeing the benefits of that, right? It's very odd, not odd. It's very obscure for folks to walk around and talk about, municipal budgets. I mean, people don't do that, but they do in our town, because they talk about and how proud they are of the low taxes. And it's because year after year after year, we're vigilant. And, you know, the fact that we had a hard stop and we paused and went back to see, you know, what's going on with this, you know, worldwide health crisis and what does it do for our budget? Again, the eye towards the taxpayer, and it's what makes, you know, our leadership, you know, different than the rest. And yeah, I'm a part of it, but you know what? I'm damn proud of it. And, you know, thanks everybody. I really appreciate everything you do.
Great. Thank you, Doug. So the only thing I would like to add to that is not just a thank you for where we are with this budget and for all the other elements, but one of the reasons that we're able to do the grace period extension is not just because of the prudency of this township committee, which we certainly are fiscally prudent, but also for the past township committees, right? With the conservative budgets that Bedminster has been deploying for certainly my time and well before my time, we are in a good position. We are nearly debt-free. There are very few towns that can say that. We're not completely debt-free. Otherwise, Judy's going to get Bud Jones back on the call to tell me just how much debt we still have. But relative,
About 300,000, not much at all.
not much at all. And because of that, we are in a better position. So we are in a position to extend the grace period. We have the ability, we need to do borrowing because of the coming crisis. If there are lags in taxpayers making those payments, we've got, I'm going to use the Christie line, we got a toolbox at our disposal. And because we are relatively debt-free, we have more tools in that toolbox than other municipalities have. And I don't say this lightly, because Judy and I and Colin, you've been on some of those calls, with reps from local government services, looking at the numbers, talking to Mark Pfeiffer, our own Bedminster resident and our own local government expert, and talking through where we are financially and where we can go, both in good times and in bad times. So this is, you know, kudos to all of you, but also to all the prior Township Committee members, and for Judy and to Deb Stern and for Bud Jones for guiding us financially in the prior budgets. It serves us well as we come to crisis. And unfortunately, we are in that crisis. So that's all I have for Township Committee comments. We do have an executive session, and normally we say, you know, we're going to go to executive session and we're going to return to public session, but we ain't returning to public session. So when we adjourn for executive session, that'll be the end of the public portion of this meeting.
And give me a couple minutes to get there first.
Well, Judy, you can have the moderator role as long as you want on for all these sessions. So may we have a motion to adjourn to executive session and to adjourn for the night?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, and we'll see you in a few minutes in exec.
Bye all.
Right.
Bye.